Hello, in this video we'll be going through the LS Activity rental features and be going through the backend part of it, the role center and the rental processes on the nav role center from the nav role center. So there's another video on the setups and another video on the pause processes, but in this video we'll just stick to the backend. So if we just look at the role center, then we have some queues here that are specifically for rental. So rental pickups, that is basically rental contracts that are starting today and the equipment should be picked up or assigned to the rental contract. And that assignment could be going through the POS or just here from the back end. Rental returns, that's all rental contracts that are ending today and should be returned. And then we have overdue rental. That's basically rental contracts which have assigned equipment and they haven't been returned yet, but should have been returned, like this one. Then we have the maintenance due. That's just equipment or rental units that are due for maintenance. So I'm just gonna minimize this queue so we have more space here on the role center. So rental products, they are just like any other appointment or activity product. You just get them as part of the list here on the product section, and then you can go and see here in the availability part the availability for that particular product. In this case, we have here today we have 7 units available, and tomorrow we should have 12 units available, and so forth. We can also change dates here. We can go, let's say we have a post booking on in August the 14th. I can just double click here on August 14th, and then the availability view changes to that particular day. Or I can just go back to today and select the rental carriage product again. So basically now, so you can see we can have the availability here, and we can start booking contracts or rentals. So I've selected the product. I'm gonna do a rental reservation into the future. So I'm gonna click on the 24th, and I can just hit new activity, just like with any other activity or appointment booking. I just hit new activity. In this case, this product requires a client, so I have to find the client here in my contact or in my member contact list, or I could create a new client. I'm just gonna select someone existing here. So now I get the activity card, which is basically in this case the rental contract. So this product is set to be rented on day basis. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna rent it for 2 days, and then we see the dates are changing, and then we see here the section rental units is shown because it's a rental product, but we haven't assigned any rental units yet. As you can see, no assigned rental units. So just like any other appointment, I could just confirm at this point. And if we confirm, we would see here availability goes from 11 to 10 for these 2 days. I'm reserving this particular product or this particular resource. So if we take a look at the reservations and take at the top here, we have the last reservation here, Edith, and we open up that one just to show you here. This is basically the rental contract. So you have the reservation header, and you have then each activity, and we see we reserved the rental carriage for 24th until 25th for Edith here. And of course, as a rental contract goes, I could be adding here more rentals. Let's say if it's a reservation for a family, I could have multiple rentals here within the same reservation. And also on the reservation card, you can see here we have rental units as well for viewing any assigned rental units. In this case, let's say the date arrives and I want to assign units. And normally, if you do it from the back end, you would do it from the pickup section here, and you would assign units when people are picking up their equipment. So units assignment, it can be done either prior to payment or after payment. It's you can define how that is if you allow to assign equipment before it's actually being paid, and vice versa. In this case, I'm just going to pick up my last reservation and just to show the assignment process. Before I go to the assignment process, I just want to go to rental units here, and just to show you here, I have a list of the actual carriages I'm renting, and I have here a number of units that are available. So I'm going to add actually a new unit just to show you how that's done. Add a new unit for carriage. This is a retail item. Nope. We just call it. Let's say Velvet, and it's gonna be base location Madrid, and it's gonna be available. So now I have a new unit which I can then use for rental. So I'm gonna copy this unit number so I can assign it to a rental contract. So when it comes to assignment, and let's just open up the reservation back here. There are a number of ways to assign equipment to a rental contract. I can either go through the unit tracking field setting here as unit tracking, select the activity and go to unit tracking, and then it opens up a worksheet where you can actually assign or return equipment. I just go to the unit number here, I can enter the unit ID, and when I enter this number, it is the ID, it selects the unit, and you can see it is added here to the worksheet. At this point, nothing has really happened. I haven't assigned this yet because it's still here in the worksheet. I can enter the same ID and to remove it from the worksheet, or I can just enter it here. And at this point, we can see here on the fact box here that we require allow one unit of carriage in this rental contract, and we have assigned one unit here. So with this worksheet entry here. So I'm going to confirm, and then we see the unit is moved from the worksheet into confirmed entries, which means I basically assigned this unit to this particular contract. Note though, when you assign units, you would normally assign units on the date of the pickup, or when the person on the rental contract is picking up the units. If you reserve units or assign units before that, you basically are taking the chances that you are affecting availability. You are basically not assigning according to the reservation dates. So the normal, just to note, the normal process would be assigning units at the time when you actually pick up the unit, and that would be within the range of the actual reservation dates. In this case, now I have assigned the unit, and we can see the rental units down here. That's already been assigned. So what happens next is that this might be then paid on the POS, or we might be returning this unit later on. So when it comes to returning through the back end, if you open up the reservation again, you can do it in two ways. You can either open up the unit tracking from here and just enter the unit, and you can see here now we have a worksheet entry which is has assignment to status rental return, because we have already assigned this unit. It knows we're gonna we are returning it. If I remove this, I enter this ID again, then it removes it from the worksheet. I can also open up the unit tracking from the reservation header here up here. This view here, now when I open it up from the reservation header, it shows me all unit assignments in the whole reservation. So if you have multiple rentals within the same reservation, you would see them all in here, and you can return from here, because when you're returning equipment, we don't need to know. Basically, the system knows to which rental activity it belongs. But when assigning equipment to a contract, you have to go first and select the activity line and then enter unit tracking, because otherwise the system won't know to which line you're actually assigning the equipment. So this is assigning through the reservation card. You can also do this from the activity card. So here you have an individual activity, just that single rental, and here we have the same thing. We have the rental units, and we can go to unit tracking from here and to the same worksheet. So I'm gonna just enter the unit from here and confirm, and basically we are confirming that this equipment has been returned. So now we got two assignments here, one in rental and then the equipment returned, and now we have assigned rental units, nothing as assigned to this particular contract. So these are the processes, the normal processes of assigning equipment and returning units, either through the reservation header reservation or through the activity, which is the individual line, basically. You can also do this in one more way. I'm gonna find another unit number here to work with. Let's say this one, copy this one. So I could create a new rental contract. So go through this part, and I'm gonna just select some contact, some person, and then I'm gonna select the rental carriages, and I'm gonna set the to 2 days here. So we have 2 days rental. As you can see now here, we have a field here called unit number. So now if I wanted to assign equipment, I can either go through the unit tracking here, and as you can see, the system complains that we haven't reserved the resources and it wants to reserve at this point before we assign equipment, so I say yes. So basically what this was about is that before we can assign any units to a reservation or activity, then it has to reserve the resource first. So it's reserving basically from availability, and then you can start to assign your units, because the system has ensured there is going to be availability available for that particular period. So as before, I could enter now unit tracking and enter the equipment, or I can just enter it straight through here, through this field here, unit number. And what this does, this is basically shortcut to the unit tracking functionality. So if I enter it now, then we see it straight went to assigning that unit to the contract, and it blanked out the field here. Basically, this field is just an entry field, so it's just for entering the units. So you could be entering multiple units. If, let's say, if this is a product that has multiple resources or multiple units you can assign, then you can enter multiple unit numbers in that field here, and they will just be automatically assigned to this particular activity. If we take a look at the unit tracking now, we can see we have the confirmed entry here. So we have already assigned this equipment to this particular contract. And the same way as before, we can do a shortcut to returning, so I can enter the same number, and since this unit is already assigned, it would assume it's being returned. So then you can, as you can see, we have the in rental entry, and then we got the rental returned when we enter this IDs the second time. So basically, two methods of assigning and returning equipment through the backend, either through this unit number field here as a shortcut, or use the unit tracking worksheet mechanism. So this concludes the special processes around rental, and I urge you to see the video that's around the processes on the POS for finalizing rentals and assigning and returning equipment through POS. Thank you.